This is task number 8, modified knots test. I'm going to be performing this on Hannah Rose, a 6-year-old female spayed English Bulldog. So first I've got my anticoagulated whole blood sample here. I'm going to go ahead and invert that 4 to 6 times. And I'll go ahead and use my pipette to add 1 ml of my sample to my centrifuge tube. And I had already pre-labeled that at the 1 ml mark. Next, I'm going to take my 2% formalin, which I've created by adding 5 ml of 10% formalin solution to 25 ml of saline. Should make it a 2% solution. I'm going to add 10 ml of this solution to my centrifuge tube. I'll go ahead and place my thumb over the top and invert that several times just to make sure that everything is mixed thoroughly. Okay. Next I'm going to take my balancer tube as well as my sample tube and place them into the centrifuge. We're going to spin them for 5 minutes at 1,000 to 1,500 RPMs. So I'm going to place them directly across from each other. I'm placing my sample into number 1. I'm going to place my balancer tube in number 3. I'll go ahead and start that and set my timer for 5 minutes. Alright, so now that my tube is finished spinning, I'm going to go ahead and remove it from my centrifuge and decant my supernate into the sink. Okay, and next I'll go ahead and add a drop of my new methylene blue to my sediment. I'm going to go ahead and use my pipette to mix the two. I'm going to add a drop of my mixture to the center of my microscope slide. I'll place a cover slip over it. Place it on my microscope with the frosted side to the left. I'm going to use my 4 power just to go ahead and focus it. To my 10x. Now I'm just going to go ahead and skim the slide, making sure to check for any dipetalonema or diaphilaria, as well as differentiate between the two. I'm not seeing either within the slide, so I'll go ahead and document that in her file, and then we'll go over the difference between the two. I'm going to go ahead and discuss the difference between dipetalanemia and the diarrhea. So dipetalanemia is a subcutaneous non-pathogenic nematode which is transmitted through flea ingestion or flea bites. Microfilaria can make their way into the bloodstream and therefore be seen on the modified Knox test. The Diarrhea mitis is a scientific name for heartworm, which the microfilaria can also be seen on the modified Knox test, and therefore we need to be able to differentiate between the two. So here I've got a picture of both. The longer skinny one that is curved is the dipetalanemia, while the thicker, shorter, more blunt, straight one is the diarrhea. Here I've got a chart describing the differences between the two. So as you can see, the dipetalanemia is a bit longer, but it is shorter, or I'm sorry, skinnier than the diarrhea. The shapes of the body, tail, and anterior end are different. So the dipetalanemia is the longer, skinnier, curved one with a blunt anterior end, while the diarrhea is straighter with a more tapered edge or anterior end. Both can be anywhere from few to many for the diarrhea, while the dipetalanemia are more few. The diarrhea will be stationary on your modified Knox test, while the dipetalanemia will move across your slide.